Well, we went and got some wood day before yesterday, I guess it was, and a lot of this is small stuff. I'm going to cut it up for the little potbelly stove with my cut-off saw today. Some of it I'll put on the stack. I've got to start building my wood supply up. And that's wood that we went and got. It's been sitting there for a year or more, so it's not green. That's what I like about it. I'm going to use this. I've had this generator for a long time. Most people are, or a lot of people are probably familiar with them. The reason we originally got this, they're expensive, and most of the time you just don't use them. But this one is 7,000 running watts and 8750 on peak watts for starting watts. 8750, they call it peak watts, but that's starting watts. And the reason I got one this big is we have to have water, and our only supply is our well. And we have had times where the electricity goes out. It goes out occasionally just on blips, but every once in a while they have trouble. And it goes out for a few hours, and we have to have water, especially for the livestock. And so we got this where this should handle the well and most everything at the house at the same time. It's a, I think we bought it at Harbor Freight, but there's a lot to it. Now it does have an electric starter and a battery, and I usually keep it disconnected. I know a fella that had one for a long time like this same size, and he said the only trouble he ever had with his was if you leave the battery hooked up all the time, it'll run the battery out, and you'll just have to replace the battery. So I keep it disconnected, hook it up once in a while just to charge it up good, but most of the time I just use the pull start, and it starts usually on the first kick. It's got a little gas petcock in there, and you have to turn it on and then turn the throttle on. I hated to spend the money on it a long time ago, but it's kind of an emergency thing. It's been a good one, but anyway, I'm going to use it instead of the house current to run the saws this morning. And you need to run them every once in a while and not just let them set. They say about every 3 months, but I like to go about every 2 to 3 months and start it up and run it for a while and use it and burn some of the gas out of it. But hopefully we never have to use it, but I can use it out in the back if I ever get busy and build a loafing shed out there. It's really just too far to run extension cords. You can't run your power tools off of that much cord. So I'll take this generator out there to build a loafing shed. It did come from Harbor Freight. I don't know if anybody's familiar with them. I hadn't had any trouble with it. It always starts good and runs good and does the job. And it does have, let me see, what I was thinking is it has a breaker, and this here is a 12 volt setup to charge your phone. So if you're out in the middle of nowhere, you can charge your phone on it. It's got, there's a 110 or 120 plug-in, whatever you want to call it, and here's another one. And then here's a 120 240, and it's 28 amps max. And here's another 120 special plug. And when I first got it, I wanted it to where I could hook it up to the house, and I did it myself. But if you're not familiar with electricity, you need to hire a professional to be safe. But I've got a plug-in over here that I installed, and it goes directly to the breaker box inside. And the first thing you have to do is shut your main power off, your main breaker off, and It's got a plug-in right under there, and I've got a cord that attaches from here to the generator, and you don't want to run these inside because they put off fumes. But I could set it out here, and I turn the main breaker off where there's no danger to anybody working on the lines if they have a problem on the lines. You can get a disconnect little plate that you can install where it makes it impossible to turn it on to the outside to the main grid. I don't have one. I probably will get one, but I've got it set up where I can't turn it onto the outside grid on the breaker that I've got installed in there. But anyway, that way what you have to do, there's a lot of videos about them on professionals. Put them out. You have to turn your main power off, your power breaker off, and then turn all your other breakers off going throughout your house, and turn them on one at a time. It depends on the size generator. I've got a big enough one here that it'll just about handle the whole house as long as you got fuel in it. But I mainly wanted it to where it would handle the water well too, because it's our water well. It's got a 240 pump in it, submersible pump, and I think it's 13 amp, 12 to 13 amp with mine. And so I need something that'll run that well with no trouble, and it'll do the trick. But anyway, I thought people might want to be interested in seeing it. I haven't had it a long time, but I've had it long enough where it hadn't given me any trouble. It starts real easy, even with the pull. It's a big motor underneath there. I think it's about I want to think it's about a 400cc motor. It's a big heavy-duty motor, and I believe this is a Kohler. Might not be, but I forgot now. I'm familiar with Kohler motors. But anyway, it's good, especially for out on the farm. I think about everybody getting them now, especially in hurricane season and in the weather. You know, around the coastlines, they need them because they have a lot of trouble this time of year. But and I'm not a professional. You know, I just try to make do with what I've got. And this is just for emergency. Most of the time, just for emergency things. Most of the time, I put it in my shed and try to keep it out of the sun where it don't bake it, and destroy the paint job on it. It is dirty. It gets dusty in there, and I just cleaned it off a little bit earlier. But I'm going to start it up here in a minute. It's pretty noisy, but we'll see. Okay, I'm going to go over and see how it'll start. I'm going to start it by hand instead of the starter. There's a switch right here to turn it on. And when I first pulled it, I had the switch I hit the switch wrong and turned it off. So that's why I had to do it again. It'll get when I put a load on it, it'll get a little bit louder. It's just kind of idling right now. But that's it. It's a little bit smoky. Been setting. Well, I need to run it today and get it broke in more. Thanks for watching out West Homestead. I don't know if you can hear me good, but I didn't think about it. The reason it was smoking, I still had it on partial choke. So there it is, it's full throttle, and it'll go a little bit faster than that when you put a load on it. But anyway, if you can hear me, that's the reason it's smoking. It's easier to cut them with these small ones. They're not very wide. This saw here will cut them a lot easier than on me and get the chainsaw for the big stuff. That's why I set this small stuff up here. It's easier to do.
Here walking again this morning while Bill cutting wood, and I opened up the truck door and let them sit in here. They just love getting in the truck, all the adventures they have, and it's cool in here too. So they're watching me walk. They'll get out later if they get bored. Well, they were in the truck. They were in the truck, sitting in the truck for a while.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And they got out. Uh-oh. CC. He's on guard duty. She heard us. Well, Bill got this big stack here. And he's got to do more. So thanks for watching from Out West Homestead. Bye. I'm glad to see the firewood growing.